everyone, I'm Helena Patience from Entreflow Consulting Group. Thanks again for joining us for another segment here. So we have a special treat. We have a special guest today to help us up our game on the recruitment side of things. So this is Rob Boersma from Nouveau, and you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, totally. So my name is Rob Boersma. I'm manager of digital recruitment strategies for Nouveau. Basically what Nouveau is a job search aggregator website. So we're an international job search website where candidates can go and find employment online.
Awesome.
Essentially, it's very similar to any of the other job search websites that you've looked. Lots of differentiating features, of course. But one of the main things that we do is cost per click advertising for companies who are promoting roles internationally. So we operate in 65 countries, even though we're started here in Canada. And from a candidate's perspective, there's a lot of unique things you can do on Nouveau that you can't do on other websites. So you can look for your job based on salary. You can check out what your take-home tax would be based on which country or province you want to be in.
Cool.
So for example, yesterday I went and saw what my take-home pay would be in Italy, and I don't want to move to Italy anytime.
Awesome. Cool. And can you tell us a little bit about what an aggregator is?
Yeah, totally. So an aggregator is like a search engine.
Okay.
So essentially what aggregator websites do is they collect content from other websites online.
Okay.
So for example, a corporate career website or a niche job board, and we put those listings onto our own website.
Okay.
And that way when a candidate comes and does a job search, they have a robust listing of every single position in that field. So think about a marketing job, for example. Candidate comes in and searches marketing in Vancouver. If you search that on an aggregator website, it's like a search engine. So you'll see every marketing opportunity in Vancouver.
Awesome.
That's opposed to a job board, which is a more traditional, kind of like a classified ad.
Okay.
So a job board, which is an interesting differentiation, is basically durational based posting where you pay in advance and that allows your job to be featured in those results.
Got it.
So there's not really an organic or free feed on a job board, whereas an aggregator, a lot of the content is made up from companies that that website may or may not have a direct relationship with.
Got it. And then how do you get your job on an aggregator?
Yeah, so the way that you get your job onto an aggregator is by having your job online somewhere.
Okay.
Usually it's through an applicant tracking system, which is an ATS, that allows you to have your jobs on your corporate career website. And what happens then is an aggregator will send what's called a spider to the website, and it'll basically recheck your career website every 4 hours to say, okay, they added a new job, let's post that on our website too.
Got it.
So that's the traditional way. If you don't have the means to have an ATS or a corporate career site, there are other ways that you can work directly with aggregator websites to have your job content posted there as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then how do you promote your job through an aggregator?
Yeah, so the way that you would promote your job on an aggregator is a little bit different than a job board because technically speaking, any job on a job board is promoted because you've already paid a fee to have it there.
Okay.
On an aggregator website, it's likely that your job is already on there without having interacted with that website.
Okay.
So the way that you'd promote it is you want to make sure you're the first result. If you think about Google when you do a Google search, let's say toaster sales, the first two results are always going to be toaster sales that are sponsored ads. It's Google AdWords.
Yeah.
Sponsoring through aggregators is essentially the same. Is you want to be the first result when people search for the keywords that are in your title.
Got it.
So if you're looking for a labor worker in Toronto, and you search labor in Toronto, and you're having troubles, you want to make sure you're the first result. And so by doing a pay-per-click sponsored advertisement through an aggregator, you allow your postings to have the top visibility on the website, even if they're 30 days old,
Okay.
50 days old.
Sweet. So what tips do you have for employers to be able to get like kick-ass candidates to using the aggregators?
Yeah, so the first thing that I would say in terms of getting the best quality candidates is to make sure that your job posting is representative of who you are.
Okay.
And a job posting, it's important to differentiate your posting from your job description.
Yes.
Because a job description is more something that you should use internally to band your job, to put it through HR, and to decide what responsibilities you have. Your job posting is what you put externally to sell your company to candidates, to say, hey, look at how fun we are, or look at how corporate we are, or whatever it is that you're going for.
Yeah.
So starting with that, knowing that, okay, let's do a job posting where we're really focused on how to attract candidates and show who we are. The first portion is the title.
Right.
It's important to keep it simple. What you don't want to do is use internal titles. So for example, accountant level 4. If it's a senior accountant, you can say senior accountant.
Yeah.
The other thing you don't need to do is add in things that used to stand out in paper advertising. And so these are things like hiring now, or needed tomorrow, or start today, or urgent. These things don't really work on aggregator type websites because those keywords are not what people are searching. People aren't searching start today, hired now, start tomorrow.
Right.
what they're searching is customer service or senior customer service representative. So keep it simple, remove jargon, don't put things like guru or expert in your job title. Just keep it simple. So moving on, okay, so now you've got a great title, it's really simple, it's really searchable. Now comes the description. The description portion, it's important to show yourself, show who your company is. If you're a really corporate company and you're very serious, try to display that in your job ad.
Okay.
Be honest in your requirements and your qualifications. If the job requires 2 to 5 years experience, but it's actually more 4 to 5 years, put 4 to 5 years. The next portion is in terms of the length of the actual description. Candidates are going to be looking through dozens or hundreds of jobs before they apply to one. And so it can't be too short and it can't be too long. If the job description is too long, they're not going to read it. So the ideal length is between 700 and 2,000 characters. If you keep it in between 700 and 2,000 characters long, your apply rate will probably increase 25 to 30%.
Got it. I didn't know that. That's super cool.
Yeah, so the reason is that if it's too short, it doesn't look legitimate.
Right.
If it just has 4 bullet points, people are going to go, is this a legitimate company? I don't know anything about the culture, and skip it. If it's too long, the same thing happens. So you need to keep it in between 700 and 2,000 characters, ideally. The last portion about your entire job posting is the location. It's important to put an exact location because people care about that. They want to know how long the commute is, especially in places where there are greater areas, metropolitan areas. So for example, here in Vancouver, if the job is in Richmond, it's important to put that the job's in Richmond, not just Vancouver. It's an important classification to make, and if you have multiple branches, try to include the branch address as well.
And now, would you say for the location, would you put that in the title or would you put that in the description?
Again, that's going to be in the description because on Aggregators, there's actually a separated field for location, where when the person searches location, it only references that tag. So adding in the location in the title actually reduces the amount of searchability because there's 2 fields that people search, which is title and location.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Awesome. So now that we know that the types of sites to post on, what are some of your top tips for employers to get those kick-ass candidates?
Yeah, so I think that now that you're kind of understanding, okay, here's the type of sites that there are, here's what the job description and title should look like.
Right.
The overall approach should be, first of all, exhaust your personal network. If you're hiring and you know you work really well with somebody, go there first.
Yeah.
Now that you're at the point where you're going online to hire, it means that you're trying to get more candidates in the door. And your first stage should always be to find out what you can get for free. There are a lot of good websites where you can post for free, and even through aggregators, you can get a lot of free traffic. Awesome. So websites like Nouveau and Indeed will provide organic traffic to your job postings. So you just need to make sure that they meet the regulations, aren't included in those listings.
Easy.
Other good sources for free traffic a lot of the time are places like schools' websites, so post-secondary and professional associations as well. Do a good job of promoting roles. Even trades associations or unions will post jobs out to their members for free.
Got it.
So these are good places to start. Basically, the final tier is, okay, I've exhausted my personal network, I've used these free sites, and I still don't have the volume of candidates that I need to make a good decision.
Right.
I don't have what I'm looking for. That's when you should start looking for some of the different paid sources that there are online. And a good approach is to, first of all, be able to measure. So whether that's collecting through a designated inbox where you have a separated email address, you can actually count the emails that are coming in from different sources, or whether it's tracking through an ATS system to be able to count.
And that, again, is an applicant tracking system.
Applicant tracking system, that's right.
And there are free ones out there, so it doesn't have to be a big expensive thing.
It's true. You can do it all for free. So basically, once you can actually track, then you can actually start going out and measuring the ROI once you're doing some paid postings. So do A/B testing. Post a job on multiple different websites and test to see where you're getting the best quality candidates and who's bringing you the lowest cost per application, which CPA, cost per application, and CPH, which is cost per hire, are 2 of the most important metrics to measure once you start doing paid advertising online.
Got it. And just to further explain that too, for A/B testing, what you want to do is have, try out a couple of different titles, maybe different descriptions, test out, put them in different locations and see how many candidates you get from each of those different instances so that you know what is the best title to get, not necessarily the highest volume of candidates, but the highest volume of the candidates that you want. Right?
Totally.
Quality over quantity here.
That's right, quality over quantity. So I guess the metric would be CPQA, cost per quality application.
We're inventing new terms here. This is awesome. Okay, cool. Any last tips for anybody, for our awesome employers out there?
No, that's honestly everything. I think as long as you can keep it simple, show your personality, and then be able to measure and choose the best sources online, that's how you're going to be able to cast the widest net. I like to think of it like going fishing. You're going for a big pool of candidates. If you just use one fishing rod, you're going to get a lot fewer results than if you cast a really wide net using diverse sources and have multiple points of visibility online.
Awesome. Well, Rob, it's been absolutely amazing having you on our little segment today. So thank you so much. Again, this is Rob Boersma from Nouveau, so check out their site. And if you have any questions too, please feel free to add them below in the comments section here too, and we'll try to respond to those. So again, I'm Helena Patience from Entreflow Consulting Group. Thanks again for joining us. And if you like what you see, please subscribe below. Thank you.